Welcome to the Insurance Brokers Podcast, Helpful Hints. Here we break down the best, most informative bits of our full-length interviews.
So we've talked about the audience and we've talked about the kind of strategic planning around that. We've talked a little bit about the proposition. Let's delve on that a little bit more because I find this quite interesting, right? I've spoken to lots and lots of businesses whose proposition is we provide a really personal service. Okay. I also spoke to Simon Johnson, who's the marketing director of Markel, a few weeks ago. And one of the things that he was saying their proposition is, which I think is the way things are going, we provide this personal service. We're great with claims. And that's the standard. That's the expectation now. That is no longer your USP. That is what you are expected to provide. I think it's quite difficult, particularly if you are an independent insurance broker and you're sort of, predominantly maybe regionalized, your SMEs within that location, or you might have a few schemes. But how do you then pull out your USP, your real value proposition? Because it can't be any of the expected things. That's now not a USP. So I don't think it's quite so easy to go, I'm great at this, unless, and one of the podcasts I did was with Peter Cullum, and he said, you need to be top 3 in at least one industry. Just find a niche, top 3 in one niche. So that obviously starts to build in your USP or your value proposition. But how do you do it without that?
Okay. I want to begin by saying the service proposition, I've never been a believer in it. It's the easiest thing in the world to say we provide a fantastic service. And my response is, well, you should do because I pay you enough money. Service is an expectation. You're absolutely right. It is an expectation. And when I advise brokers about developing a proposition, there's a number of ways you can look at how you develop a proposition. You can do a SWOT analysis of your business, and particularly looking at the strengths and the opportunities, then you can begin to carve out a sort of unique proposition. You can look at what your competitors are doing and ask yourself a very simple question. What are they better at us at? And what are we better at them at? I should ask 2 questions, not 1. But if you can ask those 2 questions and be very honest in the answers, that begins to craft a slightly different way of looking at a proposition, but it's something you can go out and really push. But the easiest, quickest ways of developing a unique proposition is exactly what you've said, is to have an area of expertise, an area of specialism, an area that not many people do, because that will give you, first and foremost, if somebody types in that type of service on Google and you've got a half decent website and you've mentioned it in your website once or twice, it will rank pretty quickly because of its uniqueness. So that will get you recognition. And by being an expert or a specialist in a certain field, you join the affinity groups and trade associations appended to that specialism, and that will get you an audience of the very people you're trying to target. Go down that route. That's the quickest way to get yourself a proposition that you can live and die by.
I think
forget the service thing. That's just an expectation, as you said.
Yes, what you've said, I think, is absolutely really, really valuable. And to people listening, the SWOT analysis and the picking, 1 or 2 of your biggest competitors and doing that exact exercise is really, really powerful.